Bitcoin supply shock is real. It's happening quick. And there's no better guest to have on my channel right now than Bitcoin connoisseur, Gary Cardone. What is up, my friend? Welcome to the channel again. It's awesome to have you, dude.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Exciting times, huh?
It is. It is. We were just chatting. It's been since November. You've been on here. Bitcoin, the crypto markets have moved quite a bit. A lot has happened because the last time we were talking, it was all about the Bitcoin spot ETF. You know, was it going to happen? When was it going to happen? We were doing some predictions and it's happened. So first off, just want to, from that time, fast forward to now, just want to get a sense of your thoughts on it, how big you think it is, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that's passed. We finally got over the goal. They even tried to rug it at the last minute, right? By hey, I voted for it, but I don't really agree with it. I don't know who does that. Okay, but if I was playing cards with someone like that and they lost, this would be my brother, right? He loses a hand of cards or something and he'd start complaining about the game. That's what Gensler did. He's just a little baby. It's just so unprofessional in my opinion. But look, we're there. I think if anyone would have said that we were going to have $200+ million of inflows for 28 days, dude, they would have been, put into a sanitarium somewhere and put on Thorazine. But all the experts in the world, nobody predicted this volume, which I find really fascinating. I actually find that more fascinating that, well, two things. One, every Wall Street expert I know, they did not estimate this volume. And even the people who are the experts, like the Bloombergs of the world, they too missed it, right? Like no one was really clear on how quickly the volume showed up. Now, somebody may have understood the volume because I think this ETF, once it was approved, it actually went live very, very, very quickly, which you would have thought would have caught people off guard. But within hours, this thing starts trading pretty aggressively. I mean, 2 weeks ago, this thing's been open 3 weeks. A friend of mine in St. Pete deployed $4 million into 200 families. And those families did not even know they had the Bitcoin yet. In fact, I still don't think they know. And I think that happened on scale for the last 3 weeks, not from the Blackstones, but from the mid-tier. I'm sure Blackstone did some, but it's the mid-tier investment bankers that really always are competing with the big boys, and they want to move quick, make sure their clients are getting the best returns. But think with that, right? 200 some odd families got deployed Bitcoin, allocated Bitcoin without their permission, which is the way this happens now.
Yeah.
You don't call up the family and go, hey, do you approve? You already have their approval. It's in writing. Handle my investment portfolio for me. I just think it's amazing that one little town, there's one fund, put 300, 200 families into $4 million of crypto. They're going to open up their report that gets sent to them to their house every quarter. And they're going to see, oh, we have a $300,000 allocation to Bitcoin, which is about the average per family. And gosh, it's now worth 600. I think we want more. Because see, remember, they did not make the phone call. But when they see that popsicle sitting in their balance sheet, and it's the best looking popsicle in the city, they're going to say, hey, why do I still have ExxonMobil? See, I think you're going to see equities, dude. Everybody keeps talking about the S&P getting crushed here. Okay, crush it. You'll see people move from Nvidia to Bitcoin because Bitcoin has not moved like Nvidia. Yeah. Nvidia has outperformed Bitcoin. I will make an assessment that Bitcoin way outperforms Nvidia over a 3-year period from here. Just rips it into shreds, man.
And Nvidia is like, what's that, like a $1.7 trillion market cap right now?
Yeah.
So Bitcoin's
12,
like still has
12 years ago, dude, it was
yeah
30 cents. You could buy Nvidia for 30 cents. A very similar chart. You should pull it up. They're fascinating similarities, man. Um, and then you put Amazon on top of that, and you start seeing this going, oh, wow, old tech with a great new tech idea. And
yeah
then you get Nvidia with new tech, and it just explodes. So I'm really excited, man. Last time we met, price was around 30. And I had just made a decision to deploy every piece of free cash I possibly could, and did so between 33 and 44. My last purchase was 44, 44,818 actually, and in size. And it was so clear to me. I'm like, I'm picking this Bitcoin up without any problems. It's just, it wasn't half a Bitcoin, right? It was like 10 Bitcoin at a time, 5 Bitcoin. And dude, I don't think I'm allocated well enough. I think I am gross. No, really. And I'm not a pig either, but I think I am really, I should have spent the last 3 years figuring out how to get to 1,000 Bitcoin. And I think that I may miss this opportunity, which makes me sad.
so you feel underexposed.
Oh, for sure. For
I
sure.
think a lot of people do, and I've noticed that this is a trend, especially as the Bitcoin halving approaches, and then after the Bitcoin halving, and we start kind of going into this parabolic phase. I think a lot of people at that moment feel underexposed, and what because of that, what role do you think fear in the bear market plays into people being underexposed, or maybe not going heavier than in hindsight they should have, right? Do you think fear is the factor in that bear? It's just kind of like, man, I don't know if I want to go too crazy here. And then the cycle repeats, Bitcoin enters a bull, and everybody's like, I should have done it. Is that kind of the vibe do you think most people will go through?
I mean, I think, of course, right. This has been a violent product, but I wonder if the noise that you and I hear in the Twitter world is the accurate noise. Because what if you got a bunch of crypto bros who really have half a Bitcoin, and they've been on half a Bitcoin for 5 years, but it's just been chatter, right?
Mm.
And what if? I mean, I think there's some real players out there that have big positions, but you know, I just read a report the other day said that people with 1,000 Bitcoin to 10,000, they added $13 billion worth of Bitcoin to their portfolios in the last 3 months.
Mm.
The people holding 100 to 1,000, they sold 8 billion. It shows you, to me, the weak hands. The weak hands are people with, a couple $1 million of Bitcoin, and they're probably having to make tax payments and house payments. They've seen the thing run from 27. I love it when you do this. They run from 27 to 48. They're like, hey, that's 20 grand, man. And they've seen it, break out on them before. But I think that, like, my thesis is you have a lot of immature investors in Bitcoin. And that's why it gets swung around so much. By immature, I mean non-professional players who let emotions, uh, the whole leverage. I mean, if you're getting punked out on this product, it's because your position's probably too large, or you're not making enough money. I think that's actually the case. They don't make enough money, and they're not constantly reinvesting funds from legacy work into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to deploy every penny I make, man, into Bitcoin. Like, any distribution I get from my real estate deals. Like, I don't even want ordinary income anymore. Don't pay me. Pay me distributions. Uh, so, look, this is why I keep saying, Dan, I think I think a lot of people are going to get completely spanked in this cycle, where they will be pushed out of crypto and they'll never get to come back in.
Too expensive.
No, too expensive and too violent. Like, real professionals are getting ready. no one would have predicted that we'd have a $2,000 down day right now. Like we thought this thing over 4 days of ETF buying, you would have had, a bit of a swing. People are going to move this market around now because they can.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of one of the things I wanted to bring up to you. And it's good that we have a chart. You can see the chart, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is what's on my mind a lot is, all right, this is the weekly chart. So this weekly candle here, this is basically when the ETF was approved, right? So when you can just see the clear volatility. There's a swing low, like 38,000 right here, right? Swing high up here. And I posted a little bit ago, I said, like, you'll see a Bitcoin $1,000 swing like it's nothing happen. And soon we're going to see $5,000 swings in minutes. Like it's nothing. That volatility, right? Like if you just look at this chart, that volatility, how do you think the bigger money, that's buying, and you gave a great micro example, in, I forget what the town was. And that's why I love talking to you, man, is like you give really real world examples. We talk about how the ETFs might play into the supply shock of Bitcoin. There's a perfect example of it, right? On a just one single type of scenario. And then you just kind of take that globally. But how is big money going to react to this volatility that like you see here, even just in like a month and a half? This is nothing, by the way.
How are they going to react to the volatility? Well, look,
like are they gonna be diamond hands? Are they just gonna be like buy the dip when we get like a 20% dip, right? Are they gonna be? Is it gonna be different? Are they gonna be freaked out? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think they're going to make allocation consistently, and they won't care about the dips or the highs. Now, there'll be a couple of guys on the edges that are pushing volume around it to exploit what they see on the chain and what the inflows and the outflows. There'll be people trying to front run that. The money that's getting ready to come into this market, dude, this industry has never, ever seen these people. Yeah. Okay, I don't think, like the last 15 years probably is going to be irrelevant. I don't think you're even going to have this. The cycles that we have had for the last 15 years should cease to exist, man. You have introduced a variable here that's just too profound. It's going to be like a freaking meteor hitting the planet. It's going to shock the foundation of it. I mean, if $200 million moves into this market every day, dude, it's in 100 days, it's $2 billion. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of money that the market's never seen before. These are not, the old guys. I mean, we can't even get a real clear assessment on how many Bitcoin are really held by human beings. We don't know if it's 12 million, dude, or 52 million. Nobody really knows. I mean, I know what I have, and I know I'm an early guy. Like most guys my age are not like me. I mean, I just sent a letter out to like 30 lawyers, doctors, friends of mine that are, in my age bracket. And I just said, hey, look, because they saw me go through a brutal legal problem and a divorce in the last 3 or 4 years. And they saw me even during that freaking terror. Like I was continue to buy Bitcoin. I bought Node 40 and they were like, dude, what are you doing, man? You're in the middle of a shit show of a divorce. You got all these issues. It's a big family matter. And I'm like, this is once in a lifetime opportunity, man. Like once in a lifetime. I literally had acquired all the Bitcoin that I really wanted. And then I had to sell it all. And then I had to start over in the last 18 months. And I've literally just been busy making sure my thesis was correct. And this is why I say that if my thesis, I am so in love with my thesis that I think I'm grossly underallocated. My allocation is so inconsistent with oh my God, this is absolutely happening. It's non-stoppable. Now, Could we see a five? I can see $5,000 and $10,000 candles. I mean, I think they're going to shock people, even though if we think we're going to see them, and that'll wash a lot of people out, man. You know, you have an $8,000 down day, you'll have a lot of selling, dude.
Yeah.
People will absolutely panic, and that's why I think, you know, the professional buyer is going to love this market, because they'll just sit there and go, shit, I'll buy. Like, I'm sitting things down. Any 20% dip, fucking fill me. Excuse my language.
I mean, look at this, 53,000 swing high on the daily candle today, just about 53,000, and a swing low to 50. That's like a $3,000 swing just today.
Hey, 3 hours, man. Not just today, 3 hours.
Yeah, true. If I change this to like the change it, there it is. Change it to the hourly.
$3,000, man, and the volume is not insignificant.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Now, while you got that chart up, because you do this better than me, can you pull the fair market value chart up? Because I wish I would have seen this a long time ago. To me, this is the way people should move forward. Is anytime. Is there a way for you to make the screen bigger?
For you, I'm not sure. Like in the broadcast room, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no problem. But you might want to walk people through when, like, there are certain windows here that you look at, and Bitcoin's just priced below fair value, period. And if you would have picked up those pieces as either a DCA strategy, daily cost average strategy, or some people, you know, when it breaches these technicals, they expand their DCA, right? They maybe, you know, or contract it in the case of being overvalued. But where is it right now as far as fair value at 51? Yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't know if I've never had that chart up. I'm not even sure. Is that a chart on TradingView? Do you know?
I don't know if it's on TradingView, but I need to find it because it's a really fascinating long-term fair value market evaluation. All the costs that went into, you know, buying the coins, etc.
It's probably like a it sounds like on-chain type of metrics, maybe.
I'll try and find it and send it to you after this. But what does that chart show you right now? Because you spend a lot of time on technicals.
Yeah, I mean, this is the weekly chart zoomed out. This is my go-to for all of crypto. Like, I've been tracking cycles, and in particular this move that's happening right now, like into this rectangle. I've been tracking this for a while. I call it the bull market doors. It's just a bull market high to bear market low. And it's this indicator called a Fibonacci retracement.
Right.
So it's retracing to this lower high resistance area in green. And this is what's powerful. And this plays right into everything we've been talking about and what people have been anticipating with Bitcoin supply shock. Bitcoin closed this last weekly candle within that range, and that's never happened prior to Bitcoin halving. Like, those lines that you see.
Say that again.
Bitcoin has never closed a candle above or within this range prior to the Bitcoin halving. If you look back, like, here's the 2020 halving. This is when the doors were broken all the way over here on the weekly, right? And then you go all the way back. We can go to 2017 after 2016 halving. The doors weren't broken until all the way over here, months later after the Bitcoin halving. Yeah. And you can even go all the way back here. This was 2012 halving. Bitcoin didn't break that Fibonacci range until, again, like months later. But look how early it's happening, right? So this is like, I've been covering this so much on my channel lately because Bitcoin's breaking into this area months and months earlier than it's ever done so before. And it's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was, you know, from a technical analysis perspective, it's visualized really nice, I think, on the charts, right? What's happening.
Correct.
But it's like over 70% of Bitcoin supply is being held for 6 months or more. So supply is locked up. There's like a record amount of Bitcoin lacking on exchanges. And I think it's the ETFs are buying 8 times more of supply that's coming onto market, and we're not even at the Bitcoin halving yet.
Well,
So,
I don't even think we're on ETF flow yet. Like,
but that's what's blowing my mind. So if we're not even there yet, and that's not even like, you mean it's not like at max capacity, right? Is that what you're saying?
dude, it's a drip out of a water hose.
Yeah. So if it's
This
already
is
by,
not,
if,
yes, it's not like these are tiny allocations, man.
yeah. So
Okay. I
if,
mean,
and they're already buying 8 times the amount of supply available. So what's going to happen? Like when the spigots really get turned on, what's going to happen to this chart?
chart should go crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you believe in supply and demand and that doesn't break, uh, I mean, man, people are talking about, $5 million coins now. I mean, it's not actually stupid when you think about it. If you think about it, took out Meta, right? So we're about $1 trillion Bitcoin valuation today. So Meta actually is probably bigger than Bitcoin today. But I think Bitcoin rolls through every one of the fangs, every one of the Magnificent Seven. It's going to eat up silver next. Probably eats up gold after Google and Alphabet and Nvidia. But does it really need to eat up all gold? Gold seems like it's wanting to non-perform relative to Bitcoin. Only reason you could explain gold going down right now is people are rotating out of gold and into Bitcoin. And I think people are rotating out of the S&P and into Bitcoin. And I think they're going to do more of it. If we get a demand shock on the S&P, because it's just like at $5,400, dude, and crazy. And see, one of my theses has been that super wealthy people, what if super wealthy people, dude, are already at max allocation on every other asset class? I
Exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
how many more villas can you own? How many more apartment buildings? How many more commercial buildings, which, by the way, you're probably not buying any of those right now because you got problems with the other ones. How many more helicopters, airplanes, farms? Wow, dude, these people have everything they possibly can have, and those rich people do not have one product that's finite. And when you show me a rich, super rich guy, I've seen people pay $10,000 for a freaking Nike shit because it's got so they're going to buy Bitcoin, man, because it's unique. It's like the diamonds that can't be replicated synthetically. I mean, if diamonds were worth something and we had to kill people for it, blood all over the place, right? Bitcoin's got to be worth a lot of money. So I just think there's going to be a mass allocation. And if there isn't, then we're all wrong. But like, I still can't even come up with a scenario where, like, dude, I really think we do 100 grand this year.
Oh yeah. I think that's very much in play. Absolutely.
But
I
it's
mean,
going to shock a lot of people, though, man. I mean, it's a big move.
so what you're saying is basically what I was talking to my wife about it not too long ago. Just, I say crypto, but in the context of this conversation, Bitcoin just seems safer than anything else. It's crazy. And it
No,
naturally
no
just does
comparison.
now. This isn't like, some, crypto bro talk from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. This is real world today with the state of just everything in this world happening. Bitcoin seems like the safe play. And that's crazy. You have Bitcoin in what was it? The conservative fund for Fidelity, a 1% allocation. Conservative fund. That's
Yeah,
the thing. Bitcoin's looking conservative.
yeah. For me, it is the most conservative investment I have, and I think it's going to bring me the greatest return for sure, man. It's conservative in so many ways too. It has no human error risk. And when you start talking about no human error risk, it's like, whoa, I have very few opportunities to buy no human error risk. No human error. Sam Altman building a no human asset You still have risk with him if something were to happen to Sam Altman,
Yeah.
right? Vitalik, if Vitalik got hit by, died on one of his airplanes tomorrow, I'm sure Ethereum would get crushed, dude. Ethereum should sell off 30 or 40% if the head guy goes away. So yeah, to me, it's an extremely, and you're a young man. See, you have family, you have a wife, you're sitting there going, hey, I need to be responsible and make sure that, I leave my family with enough to defend for themselves. And you're literally going, hey, I think this is the most conservative investment.
Yeah.
I agree, man.
Are we crazy? I don't think we're crazy. I don't think it's crazy.
Well, I think it's less crazy than if this were 2011 and we were having this conversation. In fact, if I was investing in this in 2011, I think it would have been extremely, extremely high risk. Today, at 52,000, it is much lower risk, man.
Yeah.
You asked a question just a little while ago. You said, hey, what's the big money going to do? The big money doesn't care if this is priced at 100 grand, dude. In fact, I think they'd buy more of it if it's at 100 than at 52 or 25. They don't care. They're going to allocate.
I heard you say that before.
They're going to allocate, dude, for sure. I mean, how many people have bought $500,000 Rolls Royces? I haven't ever done one, but they buy them, man. So they don't care, right? I mean, people go out and buy $50 million airplanes that depreciate. So I don't think I think it's hard for you and I to imagine somebody deploying $100 million into an asset class. But if you have $1 billion, taking 10% of your portfolio and spanking it on some crazy idea, that is the way people get super rich. It's not through diversification. And this is before all the super money dies and leaves $70 trillion to a bunch of guys your age, bro, who are not going to be investing in Capital One and Discover. They'll never use a Discover card. Now here's a good thing. See, now the banks are freaking out. The banks, Capital One buying Discover, great. That's stupid, dude. But this is what will happen. They will start merging with companies because they don't have any other strategy. Acquire earnings, diversify your business, try and figure out how to get some more consumers to charge fees to. But to me, this is a canary in the coal mine, this Capital One Discover thing. It's like, oh, it's starting now.
Yeah.
So Discover was weak. Capital One was weak. 2 weak players get married. What happens?
Got a break.
Most mergers in history fail. They're there to solve a different problem, but most of these mergers fail. I mean, listen to Saylor. Saylor talks about, hey, you want to build $1 billion business? Take $2-3 billion businesses and combine them. So it doesn't have a good history of acquiring, but this is what the consultants tell these large public companies to do. So I'm with you, man. Like my sister, 75 years old, she's making allocations now. So I got her into a little in her wallet. She got a little GBTC. Now she's moving GBTC into Fidelity for the fees. And people are talking about GBTC selling into the Bitcoin market. And they're suggesting that these people are now moving. In fact, I talked to Eric the other day at Bloomberg. He's like, I think a third of this volume moving out of Grayscale is going somewhere else. I went, no, dude. This is crypto money. It's run by a crypto guy in the company. They're not going to leave and go into Altria. They might leave if they've got some good intel and say, hey, look, the Grayscale is going to put some depressing volumes into the market, which, by the way, FYI, everyone, it hasn't depressed shit. For 4 days, it depressed the price, right? For a little bit, but it has not depressed the price. I mean, it's not like this is so much volume. What if Grayscale wouldn't have dumped one Bitcoin into this? Where would the price be right now, bro?
Yeah.
Okay, there's 200,000 Bitcoin that have moved in to this, mostly for tax and fee issues. Maybe we get some more April the 15th for tax day. Maybe we get some more selling, okay? But $200 million a day, I think 50 million a day for the rest of the year moving into this market. I mean, do the math. That's what, 200 days? That's $1 trillion. Is that right?
Then
50 million times 200 days. It's probably not full 200 days, but it's a lot of money. Even if it's 100 billion days, it's a lot of money to move into this market. We've never seen money like this flow into this market.
with the Bitcoin halving right here.
With the Bitcoin, see that I think that's what this, back to my point, your cycle is already being disrupted.
In a good way.
Yeah, but the cycle is changing. So you just say, hey, what's going on here? This cycle is breaking out from what it used to do. 3 cycles, by the way. Is it really a lot?
So, and here's the thing, like, I think it's a lot. I mean, this is, I think it's the best data we have in crypto in terms of cycles. If like you zoom all the way out, like look at just the consistency. It's just incredible. But I think even recently I was on one of your X spaces, and if I zoom in a little bit, like we were talking about the potential for a dip, and you can see this is like the exact move. It always does this every cycle pre-halving, this bounce off of like this lower part of the range. And you know, when I was speaking to you on a space, I think I was discussing, you know, we were probably like somewhere down here. I was just discussing the possibility just to fall into these moving averages, the 20 week, the 50 week. That would be like the normal move for Bitcoin, right?
Right.
And
That's
it's
what,
just,
in 38, 35 range? I can't read
yeah,
the numbers.
exactly. Yeah. It
I
was
thought
like
it would come
30.
back, Dan. I thought it would come back and give us a 38. And like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there at 38 to buy. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm going to get hit, though.
And it wicked real quick. And this was like towards the end of January, but then boom, we broke into these bull market doors, and it's just like, that's the move. That's never happened. And the other thing is this, like if you go over here, this is Google Trend. So I'll try and zoom in. You can just see where Bitcoin search is on Google Trends. Just to give you an idea, this like swing high back here, that was like the bull market last
That
time.
was 60,000.
Well, that's actually, let's go see February 2021. What was that? February 2021.
Pretty bullish. Yeah.
It's somewhere. There it is.
Somewhere in the 50s, 60s.
Yeah, it's all-time highs, right? Bitcoin's breaking. So that's that. And then this was 2017 bull market high. That was just insane for retail. But look at us now. We haven't even had, like, I think this just demonstrates retail is not even here. Like we're talking institutions starting to get warmed up. Countries just starting to buy Bitcoin, but retail is not even here. We don't even have the retail part of the bull market happening yet. So there's still a lot of things to come together. I think that will absolutely push Bitcoin higher. So you mentioned, you feel underexposed. And if there's a lot of people out there that feel that way, what would your advice be to them, or how are you handling that feeling? What are you doing about that?
Well, I'm looking at every asset I have. Every business I have, every home or liability I have. Like for instance, I like to buy my Range Rover's 2015, and I refuse to buy a new one, man, because I'm like, dude, that's 4 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay, and like, do I really want to spend what I think is going to be $4 million on a freaking car? Like, do I want to do that? Really? So I think, one, really get my discipline in shape, right? Really get disciplined, cut all my expenses that are on things that aren't necessary, and sit down and make another plan, man. Like look at this in a new unit of time and go, okay, I have my allocation over there in the 30s. I still want another allocation. Now, do I want an allocation? I think I'm going to have to accept an allocation somewhere between 50 and 100, because I think, it's good for me to share with people how I buy Bitcoin, because I think it's very similar to the way other people buy Bitcoin, but we never talk about it. I
How's
think
that?
people think there's a bunch of money sitting in my desk drawer that I just go grab and go deploy. That's not the way investment works. I have to start thinking about, hey, how do I generate income, and what am I going to do with that income? And I'm going to allocate it to what? A house, a party, or marriage, a trip, or do I allocate it to Bitcoin? I can go on holiday in a year or two. The prices are not going to go up on my holidays, right?
Yeah.
It's the price of me doing a holiday in 2 years is not going to change, but I will have a lot more money to spend on my holidays if I so choose to spend Bitcoin on a holiday. I just think it's really, really important right now. There is no reason this asset class should not go to at least $5 trillion. And we're at below one. And I can't imagine that not happening in 5 years. So where am I going to get a 5-to-1, 10-to-1 play that's really, really conservative? Like, I can go to sleep every night, man, not worry about the bond market, not worry about China. China is like imploding right now. So I don't buy the car. I got 2 homes. I just lowered the price on one of them. Hey, dump it, man.
I'll put a link in the description to that video. You did a video about one of your homes, right? About, hey, do I want to hold on to this, or do I want to sell it and put it into Bitcoin, right? You did really good math on that, and it was a helpful example to kind of visualize what we're talking about right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably should do more of those, because I think people don't understand how much homes cost, really. So I think it's really about just sitting down, if you do this yourself, or sitting down with your advisor or a friend that you trust that doesn't have an agenda, preferably somebody that's actually knows something about money. I suggest that you don't take any advice from anybody that you haven't seen their balance sheet. Like, if you feel like you're uncomfortable asking, if I was to help you, or whatever, start giving you suggestions, I think it's in your right to go, well, bro, how much Bitcoin do you own? And by the way, what's your bank account look like? I wouldn't take advice from somebody unless I knew if they were, had more than $12. But you have to come up. Well, I think there's some $12 holders of Bitcoin, dude, that know more about blockchain and Bitcoin than I do, like by a million miles. And they sound like doctors, but they don't really have any Bitcoin. And that, for me, one, I think those people end up shooting themselves 20 or 30 years from now, because they're going to be like, oh, wow, I knew everything, but I didn't pull the trigger on my conviction. When I'm so convicted like I am, and I think you are, I think I'm underallocated. That's a huge mistake, okay? Like when you see one of these opportunities, this would be like running into, all those books you read when you were like 17. They were fairy tale books about meeting the Cinderella, the perfect girl. This would be like meeting the most wonderful, spectacular. She's never going to age. Can't change her. She's immutable. Never decays, never whines, never complains. And you're gonna go and go to the bar, to the old pub, and check out the other action, right? Or delay. And yet your conviction is, this is the greatest woman in the history of mankind, and I'm gonna think about it. When I see an opportunity like this, dude, I start digging. I mean, I start working, going, hey, how can I get a piece of this? Because I don't want to be the guy that came in here in 2018 and just didn't get it and let it move right past me.
Yeah.
These don't come along very often. Okay, I've been waiting 60 years for this deal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I've been in some really cool deals, but never one like this, dude. Never. Okay, and I have literally lost hundreds of millions of dollars in a year and made hundreds of millions of dollars in a year. I have never, ever seen an opportunity like this. So this is from experience. I mean, this isn't like a book exercise for me. This is like, oh, I've been here before, but never this close to an extremely rich vein.
Yeah. Question for you, because you're macro minded, like you see the bigger picture, and I think a lot of people here do. But it's easy to get distracted, with price movements. You see the hourly. This is the hourly chart, right? Bitcoin, some red candles going on, and speculative. We have our bull market doors. Bitcoin's in. I'm as a technical analyst type of person. I'm kind of watching the lower range around 48,000. So if we go back to the hourly, if Bitcoin starts falling, right, to that yellow line down there around 48,000.
Yeah.
What are you doing? How are you handling it? What's your mindset? What are you thinking?
That the yellow line is what, 200 day or 100 day?
The yellow line is actually just it's like a 618 line of a Fibonacci retracement.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just a support area. We
Well,
broke
what am
through
I
that
doing?
area.
I would buy the hell out of that, dude. Like if I had, $300,000 that I wanted to deploy, I'd probably deploy half of it right there. I might deploy all of it.
Right here, huh?
I like 48, dude. I like anything in the 40s.
Yeah.
I actually like 52. So, like for me, dude, like I don't even know why I would look at an hourly chart though. See, maybe that's the conversation we should be having. Why
Well,
do I care what the hourly is doing if I'm in it for 5 years?
that's why I brought it up though, because realistically, you hang out on X all the time like I do. Realistically, people are, whether they're looking at the hourly chart or not, people are emotionally responding to hourly moves. If Bitcoin goes from 50 to 53,000, the posts are crazy. Like everybody's so hype, it's bullish because they're reacting to hourly candles. Now, to the downside is why I wanted to bring it up. Like people do the same thing that I see across social media. If we're falling from 53 down to like 50 today, people are reacting with a more bearish sentiment. And I think people get caught up in emotions when they're focused on the shorter term moves. That's kind of what I wanted to get a sense of, like, where's your head at in these moves? Because a lot of people, they make maybe poor choices when things like this happen. And that's to the upside too. 50 to 55,000 all of a sudden out of nowhere in a few hours. People are starting to FOMO in. And then we dip back down to 52 and they sell back out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with this particular asset class, if you're going to, well, I have a few things to say, and your audience may not appreciate a couple of them, but with an asset class like this that bounces around and you're a small player, if you're going to react to the price and you're not going to decide where you're going to buy, you're going to get crushed. Like you can't even, you're not smart. You can listen to everybody you want, and people probably listen to too many people. But I wouldn't, I mean, I look at it because I'm here, I'm in the market. But when I look at the 1 hour chart, it's really meaningless to me because I'm not. Now, if I have a SOL position or an Ether position or a
Cardano.
Lens or a SEI or a Cardano, I'm probably looking at that thing hourly because none of those are long-term investments for me. And that's a very different deal. Like these are not Bitcoin. I actually am conflicted by my holdings in some of the other companies. Like I own some miners. I'm a little conflicted about that too because I don't think it's the best bet. I mean, I think the miners, quite frankly, could get hurt from the ETF. Why would you own a miner if you can just go in the ETF? It's a super token, dude. The ETF is a super. Why would you buy a shit protocol? Excuse my language, but I think that's a normal term now, right? S
What's
coins,
that? Oh,
right? Why would you buy an S coin that has
that's
no underlying when you can buy the ETF, man? Right? Or Coinbase. Coinbase is gonna make it here. They're part of the action. Like you're investing in the industry. Not, I'm stunned, dude, at how many people want to own tokens. Like,
Yeah,
why
but
would you
why
want to
not?
buy? Well, but
I think
because
that's
they,
for, maybe that's for, hey, we actually should do another episode where we talk about kind of that vibe. Cause I think you and I have very differing opinions on that side of the things, of the space. Right. But that's my point. You just
I'll bet we
said,
don't actually. I bet you and I do not have very different. I bet you we're much closer when we have that. I'll have that conversation anytime you want, man.
it's a fun conversation.
It's an awesome, it's actually it would be useful for your audience, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
I think so
so
too.
so let me just get to my point
Yeah.
about that they're not going to like. I think if you're looking at the 1 hour chart, and let's say if you were working for me, Dan, you're working for me, one of my businesses, and I pop up to your desk and I see you looking at the 1 hour chart because well, first off, you're not working for me when you're doing that. You're actually stealing from me when you're doing that. I didn't hire you to look at a 1 hour chart, right? And hold your investments. I actually hired you to work for me. And so we could build our company. Now, if we're in the token business, of course, you got to look at the hourly charts. So that's the first thing. If you're not a professional trader like Dan and doing what Dan's
No,
doing,
I'm not. I
why,
don't look at
why
the
would,
hourly charts either.
yeah, why would you look at the hourly chart, right? If you're not a professional day trader, and if you do think you're a professional day trader and you're swinging $1,500 a month, I have news for you. That is not a job. It's not a career. Okay. And like, I would love to help you because I think what you're really doing is you're not working and you're calling your day trading job a career when in fact you're not a professional trader. And so swinging $1,500 around, hoping to make $50 a day, I personally think it would be better to get a real job, invest money with a professional and say, hey, put my money in crypto so that you make so much money, you can then take that legacy money and stick it into Bitcoin and you don't have to watch it every day. So I just think people are spending a lot of time doing stuff that's not productive. And I think that's what's gotten this market to $40,000 is a bunch of very amateurish. Well, let's get back to the 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin. They're selling, and the 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoiners are holding, acquiring, and accumulating. It's very different. So, dude, and I know the ETF is not, they're not going to sell for 5 years. These people are coming in with 5-year money and won't even look at the hourly chart. So why would you and I look at it unless we're day trading?
Yeah.
So that's just my little, but I'd set a number at 48 and hope I get hit. I'd probably set another one at 47, 46.
Yeah. I think I was trying to get a sense of your mindset when we have short-term volatility. And I think your answer really kind of communicated that. This is the chart though.
I'm a buyer. I'm a buyer. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm an accumulator of this. So for me, I'm not like, I love the volatility. I think people should embrace the volatility as one of the most awesome attributes of Bitcoin because it allows me to go generate income over 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I love this halving thing. I like it that it just didn't go straight up to 100 because now I get to squirrel away as much money as possible and then start adding again. Once you're fully deployed, okay, let me go get some more nuts and figure out how to turn those nuts into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a very safe scenario because I don't think 80% of the rich money on planet Earth is even in this thing yet.
Yeah.
We're so early, bro.
Yeah. Last question. If Bitcoin, you see it on the chart, what if Bitcoin just started falling right down to this kind of technical area? I'm talking like this is a big fall into the 30s even. Would that, obviously I think you'd be buying, right? But would that help you get more comfortable with your position so you don't feel as underexposed?
No, I would
No.
still be. Oh my God, man! I would. I'd probably lower the price on all my homes and dump them. No, really, man. I mean, I've got a deal out there. I've got a deal I've been involved with for a long time. I like at those numbers. I would probably go to some of my partners and go, hey, why don't you buy me out of this deal, dude? Cheaper than what it should cost you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
I,
would do that.
what's insane to me about it is for the first time I've been doing these videos and analysis for like 6 years on Bitcoin zoomed out charts. And normally I'd feel so comfortable with where we are right now, with all the indicators, everything that's happening. I'd be so comfortable saying that the most likely move is that Bitcoin falls down to that area.
Great.
And for the first time, it's just like, because Bitcoin's starting to do things that it's never done, I have trouble sitting here being like, I think it's more likely that's going to happen because, again, I think we're seeing a supply shock that we've talked about for years actually finally starting to happen. And I just don't know, man. I just don't know if dips of that magnitude are going to be happening. Dips will happen. I just don't know if it'll be at that magnitude because, man, it's happening. Supply shock.
A $30,000 retracement would be monster.
Well, even $35,000 to $40,000 Bitcoin, it's a pretty big dip.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I'm surprised it didn't. I'm surprised it ripped right through the 40s, dude. Like it spent no time in the 40s. It just went from 38 to, and I actually don't know if I sensed it, but I was like, man, this thing's just not going to sell off below 38. But it ripped through 40s, dude. I mean, how long did it stay in the 40s? 10 days?
Yeah,
Max.
it looks about that. There's a weekly candle just basically ripping right through the 40s right there.
I mean, look at that, dude. Look at
Yeah.
that. Okay. The volume, actual buying hadn't even started.
Retail's not
So,
even here yet.
no, man.
Yeah.
And the big retail's not here.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm excited. I think if we're wrong, it's not because we didn't have a lot of data and have this is still an awesome bet, even if you're wrong. And I don't think we're wrong. I've done this 5 times in my whole life. I've never made a mistake on it. My timing might be a little off. I might suffer for a few months. Never, ever not done extremely well in these environments. And this is the first time when there's truly not the ability to change the supply dynamics. And that's a game changer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make you a small little wager. You probably won't take it, but we'll see 69 before we see 38. Woo! 39. We'll see 68 before we see 39.
So 68 on the weekly up here. And then you said 30, 39?
I said 39, yeah.
Down here. Look at that. Right in the middle there. Man, that's crazy. I'd easily say like that would be the next move for Bitcoin right now. Just don't think it'll go that low. Not at this point.
I agree, man.
So what we're saying is we'll never see 39 again.
Most certainly we'll never see 25 again.
Well, yeah,
I don't think we'll ever see 30. You could see 39, man. 38, but I think below that it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. I mean, can you imagine? I know you probably got a pop, but can you imagine if this thing actually goes to 100, holds there, what we're going to be selling covered calls for? Like you're going to be able to sell, and this is, I actually need somebody to help me. So if you know anybody, I need to find somebody that really understands options, because I think this is getting to be close to a time where a guy like me would sell put options, right? Like, because I know I'm going to buy it anyway. So why wouldn't I sell somebody a $45,000 put option for $500? $1,000. I don't know how that gets priced, but probably for 500 or $1,000, it's not a bad trade. Especially if you're holding on to a bunch of coins you bought for $300.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you were talking about this on a space like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
How
Well, I
how
just
you
think
like
it's a
that?
way to.
How you like that chart?
Ooh. Yeah. What is that?
I mean, that's like a
Is that Cardano?
150,000. No, that's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
150,000 December 2024.
What is your predict on end of the year?
You know what? I haven't actually sat down. I'm gonna definitely do a video about that. I haven't sat down to kind of analyze, but I do want to. I don't want to throw a number out there just yet. I do think
I'm
your
I'm
100,000
100,
is
by the way.
realistic. That's realistic.
Yeah. Can you send me that chart? What are you doing there? You're just doing some kind of
I ba-
extrapolation.
yeah, I basically just took this fractal from using this bars pattern. You can take like any piece of the chart and just repeat it. So I took it last time Bitcoin broke the bull market doors, um, which and I took it from this move to the swing high, and it just gives you that entire move, and you could just put it on the chart.
If you
And then,
bring that down, if you bring that little, it looks like a seahorse, bring it down to where it was at 38 when it exploded.
oh, okay, like right here.
There, keep note, further down, all the way into that little, all the way down. Maybe it was at 30.
Oh, you're talking about down
Yeah,
here.
right there, right there.
Yeah,
Where's
yeah.
that? That's still
Well,
80 grand, right?
yeah, yeah. And the comparable
Tell
move,
you.
like if I actually went back to the last cycle, would be probably around here. That consolidation to there, and then you'd probably want to
Yeah.
put like something like that. But the thing is, like there's diminishing returns every cycle, so I like to just kind of cool down the
Are
velocity
we
of it.
sure? Are we sure about that?
There has been every cycle. I don't. I mean,
I
maybe this
like that
cycle will be
last
different.
seahorse you did, by the way. I think the last seahorse you did is more accurate. That it'll be more vertical. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, what if we see all of this right at or near the halving, and then we sell down, go to
Uh,
100, and then sell down to 69, go test 69 again. That'll scare people, right?
what's crazy is that's what this is actually showing.
That's what I
It's
think's going to happen, man.
100 comes down. Man, that's a big dip.
What? How big is that?
I mean, 100 down to like 65,
Yeah.
70.
Yeah.
It's a good 30%. So
Yeah, dude. That'll flush that. See, that kind of action will flush people out fast.
yeah, I love the speculation of it. Last time you were on the channel back in, I think it was November, it was, I forget what Bitcoin was, but I think your end of year prediction was 57,000.
My
And
end of the year for this year was
for
57. I missed
for
it.
last, yeah, it's okay. You were close. I mean, you were on point with your bullishness. So this
Yeah,
time your prediction is, and we'll talk to you again, obviously before end of year, but by the end of the year, you're thinking 100,000.
I think we punched through 100 by the end of the year. That could be in November, could be in August. I don't know. I think the summertime. First off, I believe there's no chance that these three cycles are going to repeat. Zero. You're adding a wild card here that, I mean, you're changing the entire casino.
Yeah.
The entire casino's freaking public has changed. So I don't know how any of these cycles make any sense. I just think it's too big of a pivot, right? Or a launch, more like a launching pad.
Yeah.
Um, so I think the summer, people keep talking about, sell and go away in May and all that stuff, but I think we're going to be like very, very active this summer,
Yeah.
especially if Ethereum gets postponed.
That's right.
Post halving, that gets delayed like 6 or 7 months, and then you get some clarity in September. Okay, you could repeat this whole cycle, dude,
It's gonna be
from this year,
parabolic.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So last question. What's your by the halving? You have any price prediction by the halving?
Um, 62,
I know it's
somewhere
tough.
between 60 and 67.
I like it. All right,
Kind of
cool.
got to do some of that, right? I mean, we got to start making moves if you're going to go test 100 at some
Yeah.
point.
Higher highs and higher lows. what
Again,
we
I
want to
don't think
see.
the halving though. I'm not sure the halving is going to have as much impact in the future as it has now, as it has before. I just don't think you're reducing that much volume. I think it's all going to be about demand now.
Yeah.
So,
I guess we'll see. We'll have
oh,
that
we
data
will.
soon
If we're
enough. Yeah.
alive, we're going to see, my friend.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, Gary, I appreciate you coming on, dude. And we'll have you on again soon. It's awesome. It's definitely a lot of fun. I think we were talking before we even came on here is we got to start doing some live streams. I know people will love that. So,
Let me know when.
yeah.
You know how to do those better than me, but I would love to do some. It will get me better at it. And I just think doing them with someone, it becomes more. I mean, I like what you do, but it must get lonely at some time. Like you
Oh,
must be
yeah.
sitting there going, man, what's the topic in the next 20 minutes, right? It'd just be
Yeah.
good to have somebody bounce off of.
Oh, it does, man. It's just so chill, just having conversation and bouncing ideas and brainstorming. So let's do it.
All
And
right, buddy.
I'll put your link, YouTube X below. Everybody go follow Gary. And thanks for coming by, man. God bless. See you soon.
Peace. Keep buying Bitcoin, man.